What if, in one instant, everything vanished? It arrives without a sound, a silent announcement that the world has changed forever. It is not like sunlight. It is not like a camera flash. This is a light that feels ancient and absolute, a terrible brightness that seems to consume the very air it touches. It paints the world in stark, overexposed white. For a moment that stretches into an eternity, there is only light. It is a light so powerful it feels like a physical thing, pressing against your skin, pressing against your eyes, pressing against your mind, erasing every other sensation in its pure, blinding intensity. This light is a lie. It pretends to be day, but it brings an endless night. People standing by a window see it first. They might turn their heads, curious about the sudden dawn, but there is no time to understand. After the light comes the sound, but it is not a sound your ears are prepared for. A wide-angle shot of a city street in ruins, with debris everywhere and buildings collapsed, all under a gray, smoky sky. It is a physical force, a wall of compressed air moving faster than thunder, faster than any jet plane. It does not simply arrive, it impacts. It is the sound of the sky itself ripping apart. This is the shockwave. It is a brute, a hammer blow that strikes the entire city at once. Before you can process the fading light, this new terror is upon you. It is a deafening roar that is felt more than it is heard, a deep, gut-wrenching vibration that shakes the very ground you stand on, making the solid earth feel like water. The city, a structure of steel and concrete, a monument to human strength, is revealed to be fragile. The shockwave hits it like an ocean wave hitting a sandcastle. Windows do not just crack, they explode inward, becoming a storm of tiny, sharp projectiles. Glass flies through rooms at hundreds of miles per hour. Doors are ripped from their hinges and thrown across hallways. The sound bends and breaks the city's bones. It is a symphony of destruction, a chorus of shattering, twisting, and collapsing materials that were, just a moment ago, the symbols of a stable and ordered world. People are thrown like rag dolls. A person standing on the street is lifted and tossed against a wall. A family having dinner is scattered as their home comes down around them. The force is indiscriminate. It does not care if you are young or old, rich or poor. It is pure physics, a wave of energy that tears through everything in its path. The world you knew, the one with straight lines and solid walls, is suddenly a broken, twisted landscape of rubble and ruin. Smoke and dust fill the air, a thick, choking cloud that makes it impossible to see more than a few feet ahead. Then comes the heat. It follows the light and the shockwave, a third wave of destruction. A ball of fire is born from the initial blast and grows and expands. A sphere of impossible temperature, hotter than the surface of the sun. It rises into the sky, a malevolent orange eye staring down at the broken city. This fireball does not just burn, it vaporizes. Anything too close to its core simply ceases to exist, turned into its most basic elements. A terrifying display of raw power, a miniature star on Earth. Its only purpose is to consume. Heat radiates outward in waves, a furnace breath that cooks the streets. Metal softens and melts. Cars full of fuel catch fire, then explode, adding to the inferno. Asphalt begins to bubble, turning to liquid tar. Trees instantly combust. Grass instantly combusts. Anything flammable instantly combusts. Thousands of smaller fires begin to spread. The air itself feels like it is on fire, scorching lungs of the exposed. People caught in the open are stunned. Their clothes catch flame. Their skin blisters from the thermal energy. This is how shadows are born on walls. These are not normal shadows cast by the sun. Permanent dark marks on stone and concrete. Where someone stood, their body absorbed the heat and light, shielding the surface behind them. The blast bleached the surrounding area, leaving ghostly human-shaped silhouettes burned into walls. These figures remain a terrible, silent record of the last moment. The city becomes a patchwork of spreading fires. The small blazes merge, creating a massive firestorm. A fire so large and hot, it creates its own weather, sucking in air from all directions, creating hurricane-force, superheated winds that feed the flames. The firestorm moves through the ruined city, consuming what the blast did not destroy. Streets become canyons of fire. buildings into towering torches. There is no escape, a self-sustaining engine of annihilation, a final fiery cleansing of a world already gone. After the fire comes the quiet. But it is not a peaceful quiet, a world holding its breath. High above, the mushroom cloud climbs, a column of superheated ash, dust, soil, vaporized debris, not just smoke, filled with billions of tiny radioactive particles. The ghost of the city, lifted high, about to return to Earth. Fallout, an invisible poison on the winds. The wind carries the cloud far from the blast site. It may drift for hours or for days, spreading over hundreds, even thousands of square miles. Towns and villages far away think they may be safe. People watch a strange dark cloud on the horizon. Then a fine, gritty dust begins to fall. It might look like ash. It might look like sand. It settles on rooftops. It settles in fields. It settles on lakes. It settles on rivers. A silent, gentle rain of invisible death, the bomb's most patient killer. You cannot see it. You cannot smell it. You cannot taste it. But it is there. It settles on the ground, contaminating the soil. It falls into water sources, poisoning water. It coats leaves of plants. Livestock eat those plants. Radiation moves up the food chain, concentrating at each step. A cow eats contaminated grass. A person drinks the cow's milk. The poison is passed on, unseen, unfelt, a legacy for generations. What would you do when the very ground is your enemy? When rain brings sickness instead of life? This is the new reality. People are told to stay inside, to seal doors and windows. But for how long? Days, weeks. Food and water run out. Desperation grows inside. The fallout does not make a sound. It does not explode. It simply waits. A patient, thorough killer. Even those who survive the blast, the wave, and the fire may not survive the peace that follows. In the hours and days that follow, a new crisis unfolds. The systems that support modern life have vanished. There is no electricity. The lights are out, and they will not come back on. There is no running water. Taps are dry. Communication is gone. Phones are dead. The internet is a memory. The grid that connects us all brings us light, brings us heat, brings us information. It has been severed. Hospitals, overwhelmed with the wounded from the blast, are now dark. They are struggling to operate with no power and dwindling supplies. The city is cut off from the world, an island of despair. People try to help each other. In the dust and the chaos, hands reach out. Strangers carry the wounded. They share what little water they have. This is the moment where the best of humanity shines through the darkness. But the scale of the disaster is too large. There are not enough doctors, not enough medicine, not enough clean bandages. For every person saved, 10 more are in need. The initial injuries from the blast and the fires are horrific. But soon, a new, more mysterious illness begins to appear. People who seemed unhurt begin to feel sick, weak, dizzy. This is radiation sickness. It is the effect of the body being exposed to the invisible energy from the blast and the fallout. At first, it might feel like the flu, but then it gets worse. People experience vomiting, headaches, a high fever. Their hair begins to fall out. Strange bruises appear. Rashes appear on their skin. Internally, their bodies are breaking down. The radiation is destroying their cells. It starts with the fastest growing ones in the bone marrow and the digestive tract. They become unable to fight off infection. They begin to bleed internally. Years pass. The immediate chaos subsides, but the world is fundamentally changed. The city at Ground Zero remains a ghost town, a place too contaminated for human life. Buildings stand as empty shells, monuments to a world that was. Toys sit in the dust of abandoned homes. Weeds grow through the cracked pavement of empty streets. Nature begins to reclaim the space, but it is a changed nature. The trees that grow back may be twisted. The animals that return may carry the poison of the land in their bones. The ground itself holds the memory of the blast, a story told in radioactive isotopes that will take centuries, even millennia, to fade. The effects ripple outward across the globe. The immense dust and soot in the atmosphere can alter climate. This material can block sunlight, causing global temperatures to drop. This is a nuclear winter. Summers become cooler and shorter. Growing seasons are reduced. Crops fail on a massive scale, not just near the blast site, but in countries thousands of miles away. Famine becomes a global problem. Food becomes the most valuable currency. Nations once prosperous struggle. Could humanity ever truly recover from such a blow? The survivors and their children live in a harder, sadder world. Children born in the decades after the blast may have a higher rate of health problems, a genetic inheritance from the exposure their parents endured. Life becomes smaller, more fearful. People try to rebuild. They clear the rubble. They plant new crops in soil they hope is clean. They tell stories of the world before. But the memory is a heavy weight. It shapes politics. It shapes culture. It shapes the way people think about the future. The fear of it happening again is a constant low-level hum beneath the surface of daily life. The world that survives is a world of scars. Physical scars on the land, empty cities, changed climate. And there are the invisible scars on the human spirit. The trust between nations is shattered. The belief in a safe and predictable future is gone. People might build new towns, sing new songs, and try to forget. But the knowledge of what is possible, of the destructive power we hold in our hands, can never be unlearned. The blast leaves behind not just ruin, but a permanent question mark hanging over the future of our species. In the quiet after the chaos, in the long years of rebuilding, a different kind of silence emerges. It is not the silence of shock or of dust-filled air. It is a deep, contemplative silence filled with thought. It forces us to look at ourselves, at what we have created. The bomb is not a natural disaster, like an earthquake, like a hurricane. It is a tool born from human thought, built by human hands. Its existence asks us a fundamental question: who are we? And can we be trusted with the power to use it? This power does not rest with everyone. It sits in the hands of a very few. A single decision, a single order, can set in motion the chain of events. It is a weight that presses down on the entire world. When you think about the flash, the shockwave, the fire, the slow, poisoning rain, you must also think about the moment before, the moment of choice. One person, or a small group of people, decides the fate of millions they will never meet. What would you do if you had that power? If you held the button that could end everything, what would go through your mind? Would you think of your own family, your country, the enemy, the shadows on the walls, the melted glass, the children who would be born into a poisoned world? These are the questions that haunt the post-nuclear age. Not science, not strategy. Questions of morality, questions of empathy, of what it means to be human. Power like God's, but still possess the flaws of mortals. The image of that single, terrible flash stays in the mind.